Hey, how you guys doing? This is your boy Amari. I'm still here at Urban Action Showcase. I'm sitting next to a legend, a titan, a very giant man, a very tall man. Unfortunately, we were supposed to stand up doing the interview, but he's too tall for my tripod, so we got to sit down. I'm in presence of a legendary man. He does great work. He's one of the stars from the Warriors franchise. He's also a Warrior, too. I'm sitting next to the one and only
Dorsey Wright.
Dorsey, thank you so much for coming on my television program. It's a pleasure to sit next to you. It's a pleasure to be in your presence. So I feel really blessed.
Thank you.
So I want my audience to know more about you. When did you how did you fall in love with acting?
I was chasing a young girl. There was a theater company called Theater for the Forgotten that did plays in prisons. And she was working in this church. She was part of the theater. I followed her in, and the lady who was running the theater company told me I couldn't come in unless I became part of a theater group. So I became the guy that was pulling the curtains, open and close. From there, it progressed to her sending me out to an audition for the Broadway play Hair. I didn't get it, but I got the film, and it just progressed from there.
Okay, that's cool, man. So you got to start in the Broadway production, the film production of Hair. So were you a major character or were you a big character?
I was HUD. There's only one black guy, and that was me. I'm the guy with the afro. You can't miss me. There's the guy with the tan. Yeah, okay.
The cool brother with the afro and the tan. Got you. I respect that. So how did you get involved with the Warriors project?
We had just wrapped Hair. We had just finished principal production. And my agent told me they were doing a gang movie over at Paramount. She sent me over for it. I went to Gulf and Western, which is now the Trump building. We went into Gulf and Western. I really didn't read. I really didn't audition. And it was only because they knew me from the soon upcoming movie Hair. So I sat down, spoke with the director and the producer, and they were interested in me doing the film. I said okay, and from there it just progressed into another film that I thought was going to be, just another film, and I just keep it moving.
Okay, so please tell us a little bit about the character you play in the Warriors. What's his role? How important is he? And what kind of cultural impact he has on the world today?
Well, I played Cleon, which was the leader of the Warriors. He came from a gang that was called the Destroyers. They did a whole background on him in the video game, when the video game came out. He was more of a silent person. He wasn't boisterous, He didn't really want to stand out in the crowd. But he wanted to go see who this guy was, Cyrus, that was going to bring all these gangs together. So, in essence, he took his best soldiers with him. I believe the impact that, at least for me as an actor, that I was trying to portray is somebody of integrity, somebody of honesty, and somebody who would have your back no matter what happens. Hopefully that came through, but it was to show strong leadership and definitely a camaraderie with the people that you were with.
So it's safe for me to say this. You portrayed the character as a responsible black hero. Basically, he's a black hero. He's doing good by other people.
Hopefully he's black.
Yeah, the reason why I say it is because I had read an article. You ever been to the comic book festival at the Schomburg?
Yeah.
Yeah, there was an article where it said black men can be heroes. So I felt that was very offensive instead of saying, black men are heroes, because there are a lot of black men out here that are making the world a better place, and they're not being given the credit that they rightly deserve.
And they don't. That is a problem. All jokes aside, it's hard to convey the good side of the African American experience when so much is being portrayed not only in the United States but around the world. I've been overseas and people ask me a lot of crazy questions about black culture. So to see any type of leadership or hero in this day and age, I grew up, like I said, in the 70s. So I saw a lot of Jim Browns and Fred Williamsons. But our heroes today are somewhat lacking because they're not as strong as they used to be. I hate to say it. It feels like some are just watered down versions of what we had in the past. Another thing that I'm noticing now is that there's a lot more Latinos in the culture because there weren't before. And I'm just being honest about it.
You're just speaking from your experience where you didn't get to see it as much, but nowadays it's more there. It's being seen. I also shared that experience too. I was spending time with a well-known artist, and he asked me some questions that I had to give comfortable answers to, because I didn't know where he was going with it, and I didn't want to say anything where he could say, "Oh, well, I didn't know this," So I just had to give a comfortable answer to his questions, so that he doesn't have a negative view of black people. Because, for example, he was asking me, like, why is it when I watch the news, why black people is angry? Because black people are tired of being abused. And the thing is that, because he doesn't understand how the media works, the media will portray you in a negative light however they can. They're going to do anything they can to destroy your image. I'm sorry, not your image, your character. And the rep they're going to have out there for is that you're this way when you're really not. I just felt that it was my responsibility to at least say something positive instead of something negative.
Look, with me, it starts off even in education. If you're not going to tell the truth about the country, the good and the bad, then we're always going to have racial strife. If you tell one group of people that you built everything, and the other group of people, you tell them you basically did nothing, and you know that's a lie. And then later on, through college and through reading on your own, you start to realize that other people contributed to this culture. But your schooling basically lied to you. Why are we doing that to our children? When in the beginning we can tell the truth to our children, they don't know. If you put a black child and a white child and a Hispanic child, babies together, they play with each other. They don't care about skin color. That means nothing to them. Hate is introduced, and whether we want to believe it or not, it starts in the school system. If we're telling his story as opposed to history, we have a problem. You have to tell the whole story. That way, Becky and Tom and Roberto and Cleavon, everybody knows the story, and let them deal with the story growing up. Tell the good, the bad, the ugly. That way we grow up as human beings and we respect each other instead of cutting off communities and saying, oh, well, I don't want to live next to you. That all comes because we're so, the human condition is to always at some point blame or look down on somebody else. And until you become an adult, you start to realize the blame is on you. It's not a whole them against me routine. If you're not the first one to step out there and go, look, this is wrong. Like the saying goes, if you're not part of the solution, you're part of the problem. Being quiet is aiding and abetting. So for something like this, which is an urban action network, coming back full circle, we need this to show our young people that there is value in what we do. That when you look on the screen and you see someone of supposedly minority, how many minorities are there? There's so minorities that we're majority now. You have to be. You can't have 15 minorities and they don't make up a majority. But so that our kids can see. Excuse me, I hate to run off on a tangent. I look at television, and it's still basically almost the same thing I saw growing up as a kid. There's a black network, a white network, a Latin network, and when they show New York, there are big chunks of people missing each time.
Yeah, here's the thing with me. I refuse to watch any television program where it's about New York City. And the worst part is they don't have any real New Yorkers on the show. They have people from Los Angeles and Connecticut or Texas play New Yorkers. They have nothing to do in New York City. To New York, for them being New York, it's just a hit and run. Hit and quit it.
It's like when I watched Friends the one time. If all of your friends are the same race, you have a problem. You really do. That means you don't have friends, you have associates. And even their friends didn't have anybody else. So when I look at movies or when I look at television, being an actor, that's blatant to me. That when I see was supposed to be a cultural city like New York, it's blatant when they leave people out. You know, and I'm a stickler for that. And that may be my own craziness, but that's the way I roll.
You're absolutely right. For example, I don't support any productions that do not portray real New Yorkers. I just refuse to watch them because they don't make any sense to me. I don't live in that New York City. And here's the funny thing. There's a person I know. His name is Stephen Mader. He created a comic called Teflon Funk, and he's one of the few black creators that discusses the black experience through his comic book. So that's something I think you should check out when you have a chance.
Okay, that sounds good to me. I definitely will.
It's New York City that most people don't get to see. So he's giving you that experience through his book. As for Black history, telling the truth, I didn't know anything about Black Wall Street until like 5 years ago. Like, they were an economic model for growth, and the corrupt system destroyed them. They were creating money, bringing in money, making the country a little bit richer, and the government decided to like do them in.
One of the first terrorist attacks of bombing citizens from the air in planes was done there at what was called Black Wall Street. Like I said, if we don't teach, then the next generation will forget, and you'll wind up repeating the same thing over again. That's why other cultures make sure that they keep telling that story so that it doesn't happen again. And we know that human endeavor will lead you to doing the same thing over again if you don't have some type of roadmap, meaning a book or some type of history, written or spoken word that tells you this is what happened when you did that before. Don't do it again. And that's what we need. Until then, we're just going to have problems. But, you know, out of problems, great things come.
Exactly, solutions. Which reminds me, since the Warriors, are you working on any particular acting projects right now?
I've written a script. It's called Butt Naked and Broken Catmandu. Yes, it's 14 characters. It's the closest I can say is it's like Pulp Fiction, but it's not Pulp Fiction. It's very inclusive. Just what I said sitting here, I write what I preach. So if I look through it and I go, ooh, I'm missing some people, I make sure I fill it in because it makes no sense. This is basically done in New York City. Other than that, I'm with Abrams Artist Agency. I do voiceovers. I've done voiceovers for many of commercials.
Really? I love voiceover artists. You guys are magical. You guys are great. I really appreciate you. Guys like you, Arsenio Hall. You're the probably fourth or fifth voice actor that I have interviewed. I interviewed Larry Kenny from Thundercats, Gary Chuck from Beast Wars Transformers, Jem from Samantha Nuka from Jem and the Holograms. You're the fourth guy that I interviewed. I love you guys because you make me believe in miracles.
Those guys that you mentioned, my hat's off to y'all because I cannot do characters. I went up for auditions where I went up for an audition for a slice of pizza that had sunglasses on. Later on, my son told me what the show was. And I'm doing all types of, I'm the pizza man. Then I watched the program, and this is a black guy's voice. There was nothing great about it. And my son goes, you were up for that, Dad? And I'm like, yeah. He's, oh, that's a famous cartoon now. Mainly I do product endorsements.
That's okay. You're doing something amazing anyway. If it wasn't for your voice, somebody wouldn't buy anything. You know, you get people to buy stuff. That's great. Well, I have to say this, man. Thank you so much for spending time with me and my audience. Thank you also for educating the people out there that need to know what they need to know. And thank you for writing that inclusive script. Hopefully, it will be produced within 2 to 3 years' time. And we'll see it in one of these movie theaters and everyone will get to watch it.
Okay, always stay up. Never told you to get down. Thank you very much. Watch this man. Very intelligent. Love this program. Y'all take care. Thank you.
Thank you. Wow, you truly are a blessing. How you guys doing? This is your boy Amari. I'm still at Urban Action Showcase. I'm standing to a legend in the martial arts scene, an unknown legend that you may have not known. You may have seen him once or twice on TV and a couple movies. But right now, we're here. This is the time. This is the place. I'm standing next to a badass motherfucker named Jerry Fontanez. How you doing?
I'm doing super good and getting better, bro. Happy to be here. So, bro, I'm excited, man, because first of all, I'm 53 years young, making believe I'm 35, and it's about that energy, man. Just being around positive people, man, it gets me amped up, you know?
Man, you getting me amped up right now. First of all, how did you get involved with martial arts, man? Because I saw you on I forgot which TV program it was, but you had to teach the host how to throw a proper punch or kick. How did you get involved?
Yeah. Well, my first exposure to martial arts was Captain Kirk chopping some aliens in the neck, Agent 99, and freaking Maxwell Smart, and then the Avengers. Mrs. P was doing martial arts too. So my instructor was a guy named Sang-Soo Tiger Kim, and he was like a superhero. The guy was Cock Diesel, and he was doing demonstration and breaking bricks and boards. So from the movies to the live, and of course when we watched Batman and this guy named Kato was on there, and then David Carradine. So like most people, I was exposed through television, late 60s, early 70s.
Cool, man. Cool. So what was it like for your journey studying martial arts? And also, what style of martial arts did you study?
Well, I really started in a style called Long Fist Kung Fu, because back in the days, you couldn't do, we'll get them later. Back in the days, we couldn't do karate, because they say, well, karate comes from Kung Fu, so you had to be authentic, so Kung Fu was first. But then on April 19th, 1976, I went to a school that said it had Korean karate. I don't know what the hell that was.
Oh, Tang Sudo.
Korean karate at the time, it was Muda Kwang Tang Sudo, but then it became Taekwondo, and that was Sang-Soo Tiger Kim's. But by the time I was in the school, I actually was already doing the full split, which I didn't know I was the only so-called white belt that did the full split. But I didn't know, like, for 3 years in the Boogie Down Bronx, I was training in basements and rooftops and around the corner, around the block. Anybody who had a yin-yang painted on the wall, and we were doing that thing. So I had the karate fever, you know, Kung Fu fever.
Yeah, I mean, here's a story that I know about karate. See, people will tell you that karate comes from Japan, but really it comes from the country of Okinawa. The book that I was reading said it's called Okinawan Te, which it stands for Okinawa hand. Te is actually a Mandarin word for hand, so it's Okinawa hand. So that's how I know about the origin of karate. And I had this discussion actually with a woman from Okinawa. Her name is Akira Lane, and that's all I'm going to say about that. So since you started working doing martial arts, have you worked on any big budget movies?
Look, realistically, most of the stuff I've done has been television and straight to videos up until this point. Why? I didn't want to cooperate. Short runs was fine with me. To be on the set a long time, I have 4 children, ages 10 to 36. I didn't have the time. But now that I'm divorced, the answer is I'm ready to do some work. So I'm here because I literally have a movie that I've been putting on hold for the last 2 years. That's my movie, and because of that, first I had to get in shape. I got to drop another baby 10 pounds because I want to do my own stunts. But realistically, there's so many opportunities, and I've guided a lot of people to do more of that type of long-term work, and the reason I've done that is because, like I said, with family issues, I chose not to do it at the time, but now I'm rock steady ready, you know?
Yeah, you have family responsibilities, and I respect that, man. Sometimes you gotta cool it, and when it's time, you start it up again, and you become hot. That's cool, man. So you're producing your own film. Nice.
Well, what I'm doing, actually, is I'm not producing the film. This is what's happening. I will be involved in as many capacities as possible, including wardrobing. Because, you know, my nickname is Fast Feet, right? So Fast Feet being my nickname. The movie actually has a lot of my own, merchandise in there, because when it comes down to it, marketing, merchandise, and events is what it's all about. So I'm not the producer, but I might be an executive producer. You get what I'm saying? And whatever it takes to make sure that we make this thing properly happen.
So are you going to film this movie entirely in New York City?
Boogie Down Bronx, baby. Boogie Down Bronx. I'm a former member of the Rock City Crew. That's why when you see me dancing and doing stuff, So my whole thing has always been there's enough real deal stories that happened. Like for example, you're talking about Okinawa Te, and Okinawa Te is influenced by what would be Kempo, and Kempo being China, and they all did it through Zen Buddhism. So you're exactly right. The Japanese did Jiu-Jitsu, not Karate. And Karate was the way the China hand originally was the translation to that. And most people don't know that. So I commend you for educating yourself, and most people just haven't. At the same time, hip-hop started in the Boogie Down Bronx, not anywhere else.
Well, I have to disagree with that. One, as for the hip hop scene, all that influences actually come from Jamaica because they're doing that way before the Boogie Down Bronx.
Come back. So what happens years after, because most of the guys come from the Caribbean, they are saying that, but they're 100% wrong, and I'll tell you why. Even though Kool Herc is Jamaican too, even though Grandmaster Flash is Jamaican too, we wasn't listening to no damn reggae in the Boogie Down Bronx. It wasn't happening. Even though we know they were toasting too, we know they were rocking the big systems too. But if you speak to the first generation, and it's not Flash, it's not Kool Herc, it's Disco King Mario from the Black Spades. That's the first generation of the way we had it. And Karate Pete Williams, who happens to be Khalif, who's still around teaching in Bronx River karate. Karate happens to be, by the way, the unsung hero of hip hop. They all wanted to be Bruce Lee. And way before Wu-Tang. That's another thing too, just for the record. So
I don't consider Bruce Lee the sung hero of arts because a lot of people don't realize that he was first a child actor. He wasn't really a martial artist first. Here's the one thing people don't know is that typically in China, Chinese culture, people don't learn martial arts unless there's some grave reason. Don't walk in front of the shoot. With Bruce, he was an actor first and foremost. He only wanted to learn martial arts because he heard about Ip Man. He beat the shit out of a lot of people. So he realized, you know what? If I can learn that, I can beat the shit out of people too.
Yeah, because he was in Hong Kong in the gangs. But the reason I say he's the unsung hero is because all that style and flavor, the thing that people were trying to do. When we came out of the movies, we thought we were superheroes like Bruce Lee. Before anyone learned martial arts, he developed from the childhood guy to this character, which was a above life character that had all this freaking flavor behind it. So when I say he's the unsung hero, is because if you ask even someone like Bambaataa or go to Disco King Mario, they all did martial arts. And talking about the hip-hop lineage going back to 1969, 1970, 71. Before August 11th, 1973, Kool Herc's party, they were doing jams already using the same break beats. But since he died young, they don't give the guy a lot of credit. Bottom line is this. Yes, today you can say a lot of people came from West Indies that also did hip-hop. And it seems similar to toasting. However, that wasn't our influence because we never, ever, and it's a hostile environment here. We're going to have to chop people in the neck. Anyhow, so bottom line is this. Regardless, today, hip-hop has gone worldwide. It's the only culture that has succeeded. I'm not old. I'm just old. I'm OG, old school. And I love it. But it's not the rap. I'm talking about hip-hop as the culture. You know? So anyway.
Oh, definitely. I mean, I enjoy rap music too. I enjoy the rap music that's fun.
I can't listen to that.
Yeah, because
Or even gangster rap.
Man, let me tell you something. This one guy wanted to come on my show, and he's a mumble rapper, and I'm not entertaining that shit.
Right. Well, I concur because it was about love, peace, unity, and having fun. We were poor and broke. That's why you still see the fat laces on my stuff right there. Because you was poor. You was poor and broke, and we wanted to have a good time. You know, coming up in the ghetto, we wanted to take something that was a hellhole and make it into a freaking fun environment. And it happened in many respects. Real true hip hop to this very day has crossed so many boundaries that b-boying, not breakdancing, b-boying is going to the Olympics. I mean, come on, that's huge. A dance going to the Olympics? Never happened before.
Right now we're in the era of anything is possible. You know, a couple of years from now, we'll have our very first spaceship that can transform. You never know.
If we saw it in the movies, it might happen for real, right? Because right now we literally talk on these little things and even have a video. Just crazy.
Of course.
And you hear the crew over there. That movie was done in 1984 by one of my boys, and I was on that set way back in the days, and there was incredible dancers there.
And I'm the master.
Wow, this is the one.
Yeah.
I apologize.
No, what you have to apologize for? They can walk behind him. Man, she ain't need to walk in front of the damn set.
I thought she was gonna put the chair to stop it. We're gonna do a lot of editing to break this thing down.
Man, I gotta edit all that bullshit out. You can walk behind him. He ain't gonna bite you. Yeah, so, Jerry, thank you so much for coming to my television program. Thank you so much for educating the people.
My pleasure, my sincere pleasure. When it comes down to it, man, like you said, anything is possible as long as you're totally committed. And I'm totally committed to try to inspire, motivate other people. At age 53, I think I'm young, and when it comes down to it, each will teach one, man. We can all take it to
Man, you are young. Who the hell told you you're old? That's some bullshit.
there you go. I agree.
Yeah, see? My director concurs with you, too.
Because he's probably around my age, so that's the way we do it.
Yeah. Well, Jerry, thank you so much. Thank you for spending time with me and my audience. I hope to see you again here next year.
Sir.
And I also want to be a part of your production, man.
Do it. Contact, of course, man.
Yeah, we're both on Facebook.
That's it. All right.
All right.